Right, so I was watching Monday Night Raw the other night and I noticed a familiar face in a backstage segment, that being Ella Envy, who was clearly doing extra duty this night. If you don't know who Ella Envy is, by the way, she's a female wrestler who wrestles for the NWA, or so I thought, as if you don't keep up with the channel, I've watched a few NWA episodes and kept up with Billy Corgan's NWA in the past, and the last time I watched, Ella Envy seemed to be one of the top women on the show and seemed to be getting built up. So after seeing Ella Envy on Raw, I was compelled to check out what the NWA are doing and catching up with Billy Corgan's NWA, and as it turns out, a whole lot is different. So for starters, Ella Envy is gone from the company. I'm not sure when that happened, but I just totally missed that. Amongst other wrestlers who have also departed and stopped appearing for the NWA, as well as that EC3 did another invasion of some kind in the NWA, interestingly enough, and NWA also bags themselves a brand new TV deal with the Roku channel. The last time I watched the NWA, they had just finished up with the CW app deal they had after NXT joined the CW, and they were between TV deals doing their shows on Twitter. So I guess anything is better than that, and good on the NWA for getting themselves a TV deal. But how much has the product actually changed? How different is an NWA Powerrr episode from the last time I watched it? There's only one way to find out, and that is of course by watching an episode of Billy Corgan's NWA, as I am going to be reviewing last night's episode that took place on the 30th of September. Let's see what's different, let's see what's new, let's see what's still there and hasn't changed at all, but they probably should. Like and subscribe, I'm Top 10 Wrestling, and let's watch some National Wrestling Alliance, baby. Alright, cool new intro. I'm rocking with this intro, I gotta say. The show opens with Ty Awesome and Sean Carlson. I have no idea who these guys are. And they're joined with Eric Smalls, who I thought was with Mike Knox and Trevor Murdoch, but I guess not. And hey, speak of the devil, these guys are up against Knox and Murdoch, who I just mentioned, and who are still the NWA SVR 2008 Tag Team Champions. They were the tag champions last time I watched. How are they still the champs? I've spoken in the past about how I mostly do not enjoy NWA tag team wrestling. A lot of the matches are very formulaic and they do not have any credible teams outside of these guys, and clearly that hasn't changed because they're still the champions. I will say though, it is funny coming back to the NWA where I'm supposed to look at Trevor Murdoch as a big dastardly intimidating heel in big 2025. Yeah, nothing really happened in this match. Knox and Murdoch just dominate these guys. It's pretty much a squash match. Murdoch tosses one of the dorks into the steps and then they hit the other with their finisher, which did actually look really good, to be fair. A dominant win as Eric Smalls then gets on the mic and says that Knox and Murdoch have disrespected him for the last time, and after they put him in hospital, which apparently happened, he challenges the two of them for a match tonight. Billy Corgan on commentary says no, you'll be against one of them, but apparently it's on. We then have a weird angle with Mike Mondo, who is also a somewhat recent NWA pickup and who, from what I have seen, seems to be one of the better guys in NWA right now. You might remember him as Mikey in the Spirit Squad in WWE, and for whatever reason here he's at a gaming shop giving minimum wage workers a hard time. NWA does these weird off-site angles all the time that continue on from previous shows where you just have no idea what is going on if you're tuning in for the first time or first time in a while. After he's giving these guys a hard time, Tiffany Nieves then turns up with two random lads and Mondo gets roasting all three of them. Tiffany then responds to him and starts firing back and roasting him back and cooking him in return, but it almost seems like a match was being teased here. Tiffany Nieves versus Mondo. Okay, that would probably get a watch out of me. Next up though, it's Alex Misery, who is accompanied by Cokeman James Mitchell, and he is up against Rich Swann, who is in his NWA debut here. That is a surprise to see. Former Cruiserweight champion in WWE, former Heavyweight champion in TNA, this is a great get for the NWA, and it's a #1 contenders match for the Junior Heavyweight title, as Alex Taylor, the champion, is at ringside. And yeah man, once again, Rich Swann, a really good get for the NWA. He is instantly showing pace I've never seen in the NWA in years, and instantly has the crowd on his side. Some great offense from Swann before a diving cannonball and a long distance frog splash for a near fall. Misery then hits a crazy senton himself over the ropes, and I almost forgot that I'm watching NWA right now. This does not feel like an NWA match. And the finish does come when Rich Swann hits a Phoenix splash, and genuinely, not kidding, that might be the best NWA match I've watched in years. I am genuinely genuinely surprised and impressed by what I've just seen. I didn't think NWA had it in them to put on a match like that on a random episode of Powerrr. But yeah, Rich Swann got the win like I said, and he is challenging for the junior heavyweight belt, and yeah, let's get him that belt. Let's get him strapped up. We then have a backstage segment with Aaron Stevens and I believe Carson Drake. They are just completely waffling once again about something that's happened. Then next up, it's Eric Smalls versus Knox and Murdoch, or one of Knox and Murdoch as it was supposed to be, but the heels just end up attacking Smalls in a 2v1 beatdown. It's very brutal. They hit a miniature version of their finisher, which was actually funny, not gonna lie, as nobody comes out to help Eric Smalls, and that's it. Great stuff. Poor Eric Smalls. As next up, we then get an angle from the benefactor, whoever this is. There's a load of jobbers there in this room. I have no memory of any of these people other than Kenzie Page and Natalia Markova, who I recognize. They're talking about a sacrifice, and once again, I have no idea what's going on, as one by one they each go around and talk about what they're going to do with, quote, the money. What money they're referring to, I'm not sure at all, and then they just leave, and it ends. What are the purpose of these segments and who are they for? I am so lost every time I watch one of these segments from NWA where they're off-site in a different location. They're just talking about nothing the entire time. NWA World Champ Tom Latimer cuts a promo about being a fighting champion, and we go straight into NWA Women's TV title action as Tiffany Nieves is defending against Aaliyah James. Nice to see Aaliyah James on the NWA, and I've actually always liked the 605 time limit gimmick that NWA does for TV title matches. I think it actually suits well and it works for the NWA, and it especially worked when Tyrus was champion because it meant I only had to watch 6 minutes at most of his terrible matches. Anyway, yeah, it's good work from Tiffany and Aaliyah James. The two of them in this time limit really do make it work, as Aaliyah the babyface is pushing the pace and Tiffany Nieves is healing it up and slowing it down. Tiffany puts her away with a spine buster and taps her out with the royal seat, which is a cool submission, and I am a fan of two-belt Tiffany, I gotta say. Natalia Markova does a backstage promo about her intentions of becoming the next NWA Women's Champion. I feel like she has been the next in line for the belt for about 2 years now. And then we get some random yapping from the country gentleman before we get to the main event, as national champion Mims is facing the Pope in non-title action. The Pope, aka D'Angelo Dinero, aka Elijah Burke, making his first NWA appearance in a couple of years. When I first started watching NWA, this guy was the TV champion, and I've always been a big fan of D'Angelo Dinero in TNA and Elijah Burke, so it's great to see the Pope back in the NWA, another great name for the NWA to get back. It's a fine match. It's the style of wrestling in the NWA that I expect to see. The more slow, the more methodical. Don't let that Rich Swann match fool you. This is the kind of stuff you're gonna get with the NWA. It's a bit sloppy here and there, and Mims is healing it up, but the Pope actually gets the win here over the champ with the double knees in a good surprise, which got a great pop, but there's no time for that pop to sit because immediately he's attacked by Mondo and Slade. They brutalize the Pope with a chair, as once again nobody makes the save for the babyfaces. Heels just run the show here at NWA, just attacking everyone, and that is how the show ends. And wow, I gotta say, I'm actually low-key kind of impressed by this episode of NWA Powerrr. There was actually a surprisingly decent amount of good stuff on this show. Mostly I'm impressed by the in-ring action. I thought the Rich Swann match against Alex Misery was actually really good. I thought the women's TV title match, they did well in the time limit. I thought the tag title squash actually served its purpose and wasn't a common, boring NWA tag team match. The main event was meh, a standard NWA match, but it was nice to see the Pope at least. And yeah, some good names I'm seeing for the first time on this show. Rich Swann, the Pope is back, obviously, Aaliyah James for the first time too. But yeah, the biggest problem with these shows are just the nonsensical angles that they do between matches that serve absolutely no purpose, don't progress anything, and don't mean anything when it's down to get in the ring. Like, Kenzie Page is the Women's World Champion. She's been the champion for like 2-3 years, and you wouldn't know it because she was made to shoot some weird angle with a bunch of jobbers in some random room. And that's all she did on the show. Surely we can have more for Kenzie on these shows. Come on now, she's the Women's Champion, like I said, their biggest star in the company. Okay, so in the meantime, I actually just did a bit of Googling and have seen some spoilers, so click away if you don't want to hear any NWA spoilers. 3, 2, 1. I gave you the chance. Turns out Kenzie Paige isn't the women's champion anymore, and last month actually lost it to Natalia Markova after a 720-day run. It hasn't aired yet, but yeah, that is absolutely crazy. As long as I've known, Kenzie Paige has been the NWA Women's Champion for as long as I've been reviewing it on this channel. That's crazy to see. A decent episode. I'll give it probably about a 6 out of 10, as next week it's teased that Kenzie Paige will be facing Carissa Rivera, the former Elektra Lopez from WWE. Another nice name to get in there, and hey, they are actually doing something with Kenzie Paige that isn't just some dumb angles, so there we go. Other than that, Sohane 3 is coming up, you know, the pay-per-view where James Mitchell, I'm not going to go over the story again. That show is set to feature the return of Matt Cardona and the debut of Shotzi Blackheart. Once again, great names from the NWA to be getting in. Seems as though the new Roku deal is doing well for the NWA, but it also seems as though it's coming with its drama and controversies and difficulties too. As last night when NWA Powerrr was set to air live on the Roku channel, about 15 minutes into the broadcast, the NWA would tweet out that due to unforeseen difficulties, this week's 8 PM airing of NWA Powerrr is currently preempted, so it seems as though this was some last minute decision to preempt NWA Powerrr and not show it, showing something else, in what has either been a technical error or the NWA were not informed that Fishing, which was what apparently aired over the NWA, would be airing over them. It is probably the most NWA thing I've ever heard, that they got this big new TV deal and then they get preempted by Fishing last minute without being informed. That is just so Billy Corgan's NWA. But yeah, in all honesty, and this is probably one of the nicest things I'm going to say about the NWA, but they didn't deserve that. This was a decent episode, and I think it deserved to air live on the Roku channel over whatever program they were airing over it, Fishing or whatever it may be. Yeah, hopefully this isn't a recurring issue for the NWA where they're constantly getting preempted and the fans can watch their product live, but NWA at the very least immediately made it available on demand. But yeah, that can't be a recurring thing. That can't keep happening, because that is not good for the NWA. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it there yapping about the NWA, my first time catching up with Billy Corgan's NWA in a very long time, and maybe we'll be back here soon again to talk about even more NWA, and I'll watch a little more, because not gonna lie, after watching that episode, I maybe want to tune in again. We'll see though. Let me know down below in the comments if that's something you'd like to see, and like this video if you did enjoy. Subscribe, notifications on so you never miss a video on the Top 10 Wrestling channel. I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye and keep on rolling.